Here for the first game. Get some subscribers into the mix there. Soltigo sneaks in. Sparkle mates. It sounds too British, man. It sounds like something Simon Williams would have. Hey, mate. Our Australian streamers. Maybe Tot Andrash has fully developed his Australian accent by now. Okay, so Soltigo played c4. Yeah, yesterday I totally butchered the English defense game. Oh my god. Actually, this is a variation. d4, e6, knight c3, bishop b7, queen c2, bishop b4 is a variation I've had trouble with before. And that was the case yesterday as well. Nice shirt today. Thank you, Phil. This is my winter. This is kind of like a winter cold weather shirt because it's rather cool today here. If you've been watching my stream through the winter, you would have seen it more often. So white played knight f3, not a critical move like e4. We're gonna transcend back into the Queen's Indian land in most cases. Christopher Reeves says, I'm planning a chess secret opening to beat me, but the theory is enormous with an interesting spelling. You don't in the UK spell enormous like that, do you? I'm gonna go bishop b4 here. Christopher Reeve secretly admitted he's from United Kingdom, or at least somebody said that. I have to know 29 lines. You don't have to know 29 lines to beat me. I'm not a theoretician. I consider openings to be my weakest phase of the game. My endgame is decent. Probably could memorize more theory, but I think I'm strongest in like practical middle game play. Okay, Soltigo. He's all over the map. One of the things that we can criticize about Soltigo is that he probably just plays too many openings, for starters. Now f6 gains a tempo. On the plus side, we also have bishop takes c3, just messing up his structure. Something to be said for that, but it kind of feels like you're cashing in your chips a little early with that. f6. Guess we'll go with f6. Queen c8, not really a good idea. Yuri Lapshin did that on move 3. b4, d5, bishop b2, bishop g4, queen c1, and then I lost in a rapid game. Very humiliating. I had a good position though. So the queen c8 you'll occasionally see in Queen's Indian positions, but here lags our development a little bit too much. I played f6. I mean, very often I'm going to be playing f5 anyway, so that's kind of like a justification for doing this. I wouldn't wince if someone played like bishop takes c3 unprovoked here, and he actually prevented that, so I think there's an argument for f5 in this position, to be perfectly honest. We're actually very likely going to transpose back to some kind of Nimzovichian line. Nimzo, where my f-pawn jumped over the moon, over the f6 knight. Blue Crow, yeah, good idea. Also to sort out your overlay. Yes. Alright. Sorry. Right. That's a good idea. Just a little private conversation there with our moderator. Blue Crow is in the house. Good to see you. If I remember, it went e4, c5, knight f3, knight c6, and bishop b5. That's the game I lost. Christopher Reeves. The little known Rossalimo. No one's ever played that before. Massive secret. Sicilian killer. That favorite of I don't know who is like famous for playing the Rossalimo. Actually, I mean nobody really comes to mind. It seems like one of those things that like people like a lot of strong players play off and on. Okay, so e3 knight f6. We've got Nimzo Indian here because we basically will eventually play maybe knight e4 and like now. We're going to play knight e4 and basically, I'm saying basically way too much around here. We play 94. Oh, or we don't play 94 now. We no longer need to play 94. Soltigo took with a pawn. Mother of the Gingy Indian. That is some ugly structure you got going on there. So, the Queen's Indian Knight, that's always an issue. Does it go to a6? Does it go to c6 to a5 now? Suddenly very tempting possibility. Does look kind of tempting. Not my usual plan. Actually, he's going to play like c5 anyway, like as a pawn sacrifice. So I'm going to change my mind and go with d6. Yeah, that's c5. We in the Nimzovich School of Chess, we don't really want to see that, you know, liquidating his weak pawn. So I could go to the extreme of playing c5 here. But given that I've played f5, I mean, it's a lot of pawn moves. Against the Alapin, do you recommend immediate d5? I have tried everything, Christopher Reeves, and that's why I suck against the Alapin. Because I played too many things. I've literally tried almost every variation against the c3 Sicilian. All of them are fine, none of them are great, and I think the question is with black just like choosing one and sticking with it. The reason why I have a horrible score against the c3 Sicilian is because I literally like play one line, lose a game, switch to another line. Play one game, like lose a game, like switch to another line. You have to kind of stick with stuff for a while. Right before my semi-retirement from chess, around 2009, when I started playing poker full-time, I had discovered this, you know, d5, pawn takes, queen takes, and then bishop f5 line, which I actually won a game and drew a game with. That was like maybe the first time I didn't have a bad result with a c3 Sicilian line. But I mean, anything's good. d5, knight f6 is probably the best move. e6 is fine if you like French defense structures. But the bottom line is that the c3 Sicilian is a good variation for white, guaranteeing white at least an equal game, maybe a slight plus if black isn't very accurate. And black just needs to know his stuff. And I just always like half knew the theory. I played some games with White Levente. I managed to draw him once with knight f6. What's this now? h3? That's a very, very weird looking move. So I also lost to, actually Levente, yeah, I think I lost to him once with knight f6 too, consequently. But I like knight f6, I like d5. I have a friend who plays d6 against the c3 Sicilian. That's interesting, but a lot more dodgy. Yellow Dragon, what? Finally on time. You think the Sicilian is scary to play against, of course. The Mama Duck. We've got subscribers. See if we get a new subscriber today. So M. Matkun said, against Alapin I always try to get French advanced. Okay, that's probably one of the most solid ways you can play. Kasparov actually did play like e4, c5, c3, e6. There's also like the delayed c3 Sicilian you have to contend with sometimes. Like they're trying to do it like a move later. Okay, now Soltigo is like all over the map. He's on the queen side. He's over here with h3. Like, what is he thinking about? Like g4. We're trying to play fundamentally. Very fundamentally in this position. I'm going to castle. Or should I make one more like central developing move? Queen e7 I like a lot. Got options to castle both ways here. He doesn't know what I'm going to do. We can castle either way. You know, I wouldn't really mind if someone to throw the bishop into e4, something funky like that. But ultimately, that's really where we want to put a knight, most likely. c5 pawn sacrifices. He's not really getting enough compensation here. It reminds me a little bit of a Grand Prix attack on the other side of the board. I think that Soltigo's problem, if he has a problem at all, is that he plays too many different openings. He needs to kind of narrow it down, practice playing specific positions a little bit more. Not to say that he's not learning, you know, playing all these different things and become a good all-around player, but if you play certain positions again and again, you become more familiar. No, we don't really have any ideas for the name, Blue Crow. We need suggestions. So I want to ask you guys suggestions for the subscriber's name. This is going out particularly to the subscribers. Everyone's allowed to suggest something. But in the course of the stream today, if people could please come forward and suggest names for, like a nickname for the subscribers for the channel on Twitch, it would be great. We could get like 3 or 4 or 5 suggestions of names. We could do a poll on Twitch and during the stream live, and maybe poll the subscribers and get an idea of what kind of nickname would be cool. All right, so bishop e2. Nimzovichian idea is e5 here. I don't really like the blockading c5 because we've got great weakness along the b file in this position. So this fluid advance e5. The great Aaron Nimzovic, or Aaron, if we said it in a Hungarian way, Aaron, would be like rook a e8 and push to e5. Hungry Hippo. It's very funny that you said that. I was with my kids today, and they wanted to buy that game, Hungry Hippos. I'm like, dude, that's for like 4-year-olds. They're like double that age. By the way, if anybody saw me playing some very strange games against Stockfish, casual games here, that was my 6-year-old son. He hijacked my account and started to play, thankfully, like unrated games against Stockfish level 6, and he's just learning how to play. It was a little scary, a little touch and go. I was like, oh my god, I hope it's not a rated game. But he's just getting interested. All right, bishop e4. In general, I like this exchange. It is a powerful bishop for me, but we've got a static weakness in white's camp. Did you know you're camping? This is a camp. Okay, pawn takes, not really going to do it here. So he's got the static weakness, and actually more than one. So I think simplification is good for black. White has a very bad bishop on g3. Is it possible to play rated against Stockfish? Actually, Brundlefield, you're probably right. But I was like afraid he would play rated against anybody. It's like, oh my god. I'll get like punished for rating manipulation, giving away rating points. So if you see me, let me know. One day you notice me playing like a 12. Actually, if you notice me playing like an 800 player one day, just send me a message. Alright, king e2. One would think I should open this position up, but it's not so easy, is it? King position. I'm just looking at this diagonal. If I want to try to open it up, that diagonal could come into play. We can also think about several factors. I like the white squares. You know, the white square complex is really bad for white here. Trading knight's fine by me. And we're just going to break it up in the center. Straight up Nimzovic. And I think he overlooked this or just didn't have a better answer. But he's getting toasted. Let's be greedy. Snap a second pawn. It's such a close position. I just don't think I'm worried about the element of time too much here. So we're going to put that insurance pawn in the bank. And he's castling manually. This was a good square actually here. Soltigo. He's more in his element in the structures he's played more frequently. Just not really qualifying. Okay, that bishop coming out on h4. Pawn takes pawn. Unfortunately, he takes back with a c pawn. He's hanging on. Do you fancy a classical Spanish game? Now I know you're from the UK. Alright. Haven't seen Arsenal fan here. Classical Spanish is great. Yeah, I'd love a Spanish. You get way too many players here who don't really know a lot of theory, and they kind of avoid book. And we're gonna see what Soltigo does here. I was really on the fence about what to do here. He fixes it, which makes some sense, because he does keep the pieces on the board, keep the position kind of complicated. And now he's like blundering. Blunderifish. Forks everywhere. Alright, that's it, guys. Subscribers are coming up. We got a lot of challenges now. Bob, Muleskinner, they get a notification. Dibliatavra, Firestarter. I'll come up with a new name every time. So what is fire in your language? Dibliatavra. Dibliavatra. Sorry, I'm dyslexic. I've gotta just. What is the word for fire? Do you know Imre Balog? Okay, I don't know him really well. I just played him like one tournament game, and he seems kind of shy. He's not like really outgoing, or at least he didn't used to be. That was pretty long ago, like 2010. We had a draw. I was better. I was white, but he's a really, really good blitz player. That's really all I know about him. He's kind of a specialist in blitz. Bob is up next. We would say Balog Imre. Why do you bring up Balog Imre? Soltigo, you need a nap after that game. Oh, we say, oh no, my hand is bloody because I cut it. Only to describe blood. We don't use the word bloody. Bloody hell. Maybe pirate talk. If I was to do like a pirate imitation. But I like to watch like old reruns of British sitcoms. Like Fawlty Towers. Alright. You gotta get the bloody in there constantly. Sparkle Horse versus Bob. You need to learn to chat in descending order. I know. I can only see so much of it. I was actually wondering why Dibliavatra brought up Balog Imre. Bob, we're going to play the Rachmanov variation. Grandmaster Alexander Rachmanov. Not often played. This is just the kind of Larson-like way of trying to play a really funky reverse Nimzovich variation. Aye, lad, that's proper. The Scouse dialect of English. Are you English or you just live there? Yeah, there has to be like as many dialects to English in the UK as there are in the United States. You had a lot longer time to develop them than we have. You know, that's probably like part of it. Bob just transposes. Okay, Bob, we're going to play what somebody labeled the Alekhine variation, I think. I have an old English book. Somewhere it was labeled Alekhine's variation. Eliochin. Were you exceptionally good in chess, or was it hard work and studying? I'm a combination of both, man. Natural talent and hard work. In all seriousness, I think it was like steady commitment in my case. Some talent, but you know, more like steady commitment. If only I could live that way in my personal life. Alright, knight takes e5. Chess is my wife. Devo asked the question. Devo, like the group? Okay, so now, by the way, guys, bishop takes f2, king takes f2, knight takes e5, and I believe the d4, this is just a good line for white. So knight takes e5, d4. I think we're still in like what's considered to be the main line for this variation. I don't play it much. I've seen certain players play it over the years with white. Larry Christensen, for all his tactical prowess, sometimes plays the English opening. I never quite got that, but Will forgot to mention that he's also extremely modest. Nefedov, you subscribed? When did Nefedov subscribe? I might have like dementia starting, you know, with 39, but because I'll never get older. Maybe that's why the dementia is getting worse, because I never get older. It's got to get worse at the same age. You know, and I don't like to be arrogant. I don't like people who self-promote. I'm kind of anti-self-promotion. So I believe in modesty. I mean, I'm as proud of my achievements as the next person, but it's kind of more like internal. You know, I don't like to run around bragging about myself. And I'm also very demanding of myself. And for example, I can win a big tournament, you know, and then like I'm not that excited about it. But when I like lose, then I'm really angry with myself. That's how I've pushed myself to reach a fairly high level. I think by being very, you know, having very high standards for what I expect of myself. And that's not the same as modesty, but I really set very high standards for myself. So that might come into it. I challenged him on lichess, but I didn't show up on the list of challengers. Any idea why? Quows. Well, sometimes there's like lag that may like knock you out. You're in there. You're like way down on the list near the bottom. I'm not sure if we're going to get that many games in. We're going to try, but... So Bob played, looks like, kind of reasonable setup. A little modest. Should I try to get this bishop out on g5, h6, bishop g6? He's got like this knight g6 maneuver, which is actually very typical for this variation. On the other hand, if he does that, actually his structure will... So let's say bishop g5, we can do it. h6 or c5. I'm a little concerned about certain aspects of this, but I think we can do it. Where am I going to put my queen? Maybe on e3? And you wonder, like, in the case of c5, it's implied. Implied threat. c5 is a kind of anti-positional move, but I just want to know where I'm putting my queen before I really construct a plan here. Because I was thinking, there's obviously queen d2, and knight takes e4, knight takes e4. I'm looking for tactics. h6, bishop h4, knight g6. I'm going to take on f6. So if he could kick my queen off of d4, he could exercise h6 idea. Not a delay issue. How strange. Does the list have quads on it? It does. I can show you guys. I think you should be able to see it when I click on this. It has quads on it. It's like you're down around number 10. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so bishop e6. And I'm just going to look at this as a threat against my c-pawn. Basically. I guess b3 is, it looks like a lame move to play, but it solidly defends the pawn. Possible as something else. It looks like I might have had f4, trying to win a piece or something. We'll just keep everything protected. Bob, backward pawn here. You better be prepared to offer that up as some kind of token to the gods. The door opened itself. Oh no, we'll start like a haunted house stream or something. Great approach to life in general. I'm not in any approach where I have to win that pawn immediately, but on the other hand, yeah, I'm a little bit concerned about lacking development. You know, you could play something like Queen A5. Say, screw the doubled pawns. Let me give you an example variation. If I played, for example, Rook D1 here, you know, he could play like Queen A5 probably. Bishop takes S6, pawn takes F6. Well, I'm not committed to taking the pawn, am I? In any case, I want to get my development finished. This pawn for me, it's not going anywhere. I mean, if he's tied down to that, then that's almost as good as being up a pawn. I'm not trying to be materialistic. Well, I'm a little bit behind in development. We obviously have stuff like F4 and E5, which might, in some situations, win a piece. More often not. More often black has some counter tricks like H6 and whatnot. But I should probably do a bit more calculation. I'm a little cloudy headed right now. I don't play a lot of chess in between the streams, and I would probably benefit from playing some warm-up games. Also would like a really large coffee from some kind of mainstream coffee shop. Something really strong. I had like a kind of cappuccino, but it was small and not that concentrated with caffeine. Can you check the challenge list, please? Yeah, well, you guys are going to have to let the subscribers go first. Yellow Dragon is like 6th on the list. We're going to play a couple of subscribers first. Yellow Dragon has a good chance of getting his challenge in for today. I'd say he's on the margin. Probably make it. Whereas Quaz is really late in the challenges. He's a couple challengers later, so he may not play today. F4 E5 no longer works. I'm happy with my position on a lot of levels, though. You guys might see something stronger than I played. You know what, Bob? I mean, I've been talking and kind of answering questions about the stream and stuff, but did Bob have H6, Bishop H4, Knight takes E4? Probably not. Like, Bishop takes E7, Knight takes D2, Rook D1. I don't know, and this D6 pawn will fall. I would think he'll lose at least a pawn somewhere in those lines, but he's got the bad passive rook. You know, that's not where we want to be, basically, with black. So I play F4 now. He's got a great path for his knight from C6 into D4. But I do have F4, F5, followed by Knight D5, which is something I probably need to prepare a little bit better. Alright. We're going to line up. Okay, now, well, now Bishop H4 is still good, because Knight takes E4, Bishop takes E7. Doesn't work. Famous last words. Okay, this is awkward. I think I blundered. Knight takes E4, Bishop takes E7, Knight takes D2. Now I've trapped my own rook on F1. Knight takes E4, Queen F4 needs to be considered. Man. Knight takes E4, we have Queen takes H6, which doesn't work. Knight takes E4, Bishop takes E7, Knight takes D2, Bishop takes D8, Knight takes F1. We end up dropping a pawn at least. Looks like I'm gonna have to play. Looks like I'm gonna have to play Queen F4. Take my chances. Queen F4. We'll take our chances there in that weird land. Doesn't feel right either. Queen f4, g5, queen f4, knight g5. All right, I've got to do this. It's a bad tactical blunder by me, allowing this at all. But I don't see a better way to continue here. Rook a1 was a tactical oversight. Queen f4, g5, or knight g5. He has two possible moves here. I think both should be seriously considered. But his pieces are obviously not that well placed compared to mine, which I think are looking forward. So I'd be surprised if I didn't have compensation for the pawn. I don't want to play it a different way. Knight e4. He's got all sorts of moves here. Knight g6. So what am I going to do? My first thought was queen g3. Obviously, I want my f-pawn to kind of play a role here. I don't want to trade pieces. Queen g3, knight g6, f4, knight takes h4, f takes g5, queen takes g5, and I'm just like screwed. He's threatening knight g6, so we could get really funky with like bishop h5, but then I'm in trouble there as well. He's got all sorts of threats with the knight g6. Alright, this is going to get super weird, I guess. We're down a pawn, and we don't really have much for it. We're going to probably flag him, but it's nothing I'm too proud of. I'll take it in a rated blitz game, but on the stream, my goal is not to flag people. Unfortunately, it does look like he has knight g6 here. And there's a threat of knight takes h4, queen takes h4, knight f3 check, winning my queen. So it's quite awkward for me. Now it's possible I have some crazy ideas. I was looking at bishop d3, knight takes h4, f4, f4. Knight takes h4, pawn takes h4 is not enough. Bishop g4, knight takes h4. There's also knight to d5. I even looked at that, but I don't see what it does. Knight to d5, bishop takes d5, bishop d3. Then he has various moves. Okay. Trying to remain calm. So this bishop takes g5 just helps him too much. Really needs something else. King h1. For lack of a better move, just avoiding all these fork tricks. But I don't like my game. I don't think I have enough compensation. A little bit of awkwardness for black along the e file with some threats to my f pawn, but I'm still just down a pawn here. So Bob should have a clear advantage. Don't have any choice. Queen move. His knight is pretty awkward. It might have to go back to h7 in some lines. Obviously threatening f4, f5. Screwed up, guys, in this game. Queen f6, f4. He has moves there. I think queen f6, maybe queen g3. Black is a pawn up, and I don't have enough compensation. Now f4. What to do? Want to avoid exchanges. Bob, don't lose on time. Good man. So no need to lose on time here. Take, bishop d3. Looks like he's just in time there. Queen g3, queen f6 he's got. Do I have anything concrete? Just some vague compensation. Bob loses on time. Clear advantage to black, pawn up. 0.4 advantage to black. I thought it's actually more. So, good game, Bob. Well done. I don't like your opening, and I really screwed my position, but your advantage was probably even bigger a minute ago. The computer thinks I have some compensation, but this is not what I intended. Apparently it was like a sound pawn sacrifice. Wow. I have to play queen e3 here. How the heck does that work? Oh, you know what I didn't see, guys? I didn't see knight h3, queen takes h3 in the event of queen e3. Alright guys, let's move on. I needed some more warm-up games. Nefedab, subscriber. We're going to play him next. Guys, we do this Blitz Classical Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays in August. 4 p.m., just like today. Again, Wednesday and Fridays. This is my last English opening for today, guys. I don't know, I was just in the mood. Weekly, I report about 5 players who eventually get banned for using engines. We try to avoid the subject whenever possible, but you can't hide everything under the rug. So, I don't think I hit that many, but I'm not playing as many rated games, so we'll get 1 or 2 every week. Okay, Nefedov, I'm going to play knight f3 here. I'm a little bit bored with these lines. Little Penguin, hi. How many games you play a week, M. Matkun? That's a good question. Let's play the, did we play this Nefedov yet? I imagine you could get quite a few depending on how many you play. But I think that lichess does a pretty good job. So Nefedov is playing my favorite variation until d6. You should play d5, man. I mean, this is fine. I've given this lecture a number of times. But you're transposing to the Panov. If you don't want to play d5, you need to not play knight f6 and probably like play bishop g7. Then you can play like d5, knight e5 here. You've combined a couple of lines that are sort of shady. We had a game with somebody with like d5, knight e5. Which is really funky. Well, let's try something else. I want to go full hog here. Whole hog. Try to get the maximum out of this. Be principled. Let's be a principled player. Try to squeeze the maximum out of this position. Punish him for putting the knight on c6, not playing d5. I love this variation. I consider myself a minor expert in the position after d5. Playing it for both sides. Matkun said, I used to play 5 classical games. Okay. Now Nefedov went back. So Nefedov, I wouldn't fear as much like knight e5, knight takes e5, pawn takes e5. I had a game like that here. It wasn't easy for me to really prove anything. If you had played knight e5, I was actually going to play knight to d4 and avoid exchanges of pieces, which I think is really interesting. So instead he's gone knight b8. Aronian had a game like this against Tao Master Quang Liam. It's like an ongoing joke we have. He always takes a towel with him to the board. But bishop e2. I'm not a huge fan of letting them trade pieces with like bishop g4, but I'm not sure it's good just yet for him to do that. There could be some downsides of bishop g4, like queen b3. The bishop e2 is such a modest formation for white. I previously played h3 in a similar position, but black seemed to get good counterplay. Although he's like a tempo down here on that game that I'm thinking of. I had another opponent who didn't waste time with a knight c6, knight b8, played like bishop g7 and then e6, and he just seemed to have an easy game. But Nefedov here probably would have justified. I probably should have played h3. It probably would be justified because he's wasted this time with the knight going back. You're in Croatia. Pretty big tournament. Okay, you're an avid French defense player. Croatia. Split Open. What kind of tournament? Oh, you're working at the Open Dutch Youth Chess Championships this week. Oh my god, like kids tournaments must be really, really demanding, yeah. I was always just like, well, I was coach of a high school team, and they always tried to talk me into going to the national championship. I was, no, thank you. I don't want to go to the national like championship. I'll pass. Knight d4 is an interesting move. I think principled. He wasted time with his knight. We're putting our knight in the center, man. It's the center, man. It's pretty well placed there. It's also stopping this break, b5, which is so critical and pivotal in these type of openings. What year did I become an IM? It's like 1999. I officially got the title in 99. I think I met all the requirements in 1998. By the end of 98, I had... Well, actually, the rating may have been a question. The rating was the last thing to get over 2400. So 99. I would later reach my peak rating in 2002, I think. 2001 or 2002. Okay, we're good to go here. I like our position. We have a pretty huge space advantage. But what's the plan? Playing on the king side, on the queen side, a combination of both. It's a tough call. His position is actually quite passive. He doesn't have any breaks. Now he's gone knight c5. This looks like something I should probably avoid, letting him trade pieces with knight e4. So f3, it's rather modest. You could consider playing like f4, f5 in this type of position for sure. But once again, like maybe if I wanted to do that, I should have put my queen on a different square. If I had played this, I mean, I'm thinking like there's something along the c file. My queen doesn't really belong there. Queen is on a more normal square here. Fortunately, once said that all masters are crazy, but they only vary in the craziness. I was born in 1998, and he was already an IM. Not yet. Not yet. Not until you were 1 year old. Rook e8 now. Look, if you want to do that, maybe we'll kick your knight out first of all. I should seriously think about playing b4, but it's like real estate. You've got to be responsible for the real estate you buy. If I want to play b4, still, man, I mean, this is some juicy space. We go for like a trash compactor type of thing here with c5. Did anybody know like the original Star Wars movie? Like, you know, the first Star Wars, where they're like trapped in a trash compactor. I had this little toy when I was a kid, like the toy trash compactor. I remember it clearly, like a classic Star Wars toy from the very first Star Wars. So this is the trash compactor here. This structure when you get to play like c5 and b4 and d5, like ideally I'd like to have pawns here, 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 and here. That would be like the true trash compactor. But if we make some kind of trash compactor out of it. Used to have a Thundercats sort of. Okay, you're getting off topic now. That's just totally random. You just wanted to share. I want to confess something. I bought an Alf lunchbox yesterday, or a couple days ago, at a flea market. I really thought I wasn't into Alf. It was much after my childhood, but it was like $4, and I thought this Alf lunchbox has to be like a collectible. It'll probably sell for like $20 on eBay easily. So I bought an Alf lunchbox. Oh no. The C6 square, to try to stop the compactor, he's actually gone to the extent of the unthinkable. He's played b6 now. So we play knight c6, he moves his queen, then we're going to play f4 and support the knight with bishop f3. What do you guys think? Devastating? The ultimate spatial crush. We've got to be able to support this guy, and I don't want to play b5, which will give him a hole to stick his knight in there. We're going to play bishop f3, supporting the advanced knight on c6. And I think that he's toast here, strategically. Like, there's no way I can kill him immediately, but it's just a matter of time. Except it's an Alf alarm clock. What? It's exactly like the eBay song from Weird Al. Really? Are you serious? I'm telling you, man, you never know. Like, I could get like $50 for an Alf lunchbox from some kind of hardcore Alf collector. I mean, I thought this guy was crazy to ask just $4. It was in decent condition. Knight b8, I love it. That is seriously a good idea to try to save yourself before it's too late. Anyway, like, enough about retro toys. We're way off topic. What did I do? Did I play knight c6 too early? Is bishop f3 still the right idea? He's gonna actually force me to do something drastic. I mean, b5 I don't really want to do. Could do bishop f3. Nefedov. We could bring the knight back. I mean, it's not, there's no shame in that. We're definitely better. Although b5 probably might be worth the trouble. b5 getting really weird. That opens up his rook too. Seems like he suddenly got some sort of counterplay. Yeah, bishop g4 is genius. Definitely genius. And my c-pawn is hanging now in a lot of lines. So I think I'm going to have to go and do something radical. Bishop takes, knight takes, bishop d4. Knight takes c6, pawn takes c6. That's not too convincing. How about queen e2? Take, take, support the knight. Have other moves. Queen f2. Similar idea. I've definitely not got the maximum out of this position. Nefedov has 4 minutes left. God. Well, Alf Thermos lunchbox, very good condition. How much? How much, man? What's the price? $8.99. Oh my God. I made a very, very small profit margin. Mine's actually an older one. It looks very similar, but it's a different design. I made at least a $2 profit. Now we have bishop takes b6 here. Bishop takes b6, queen b8, pawn takes c6, bishop takes f3, pawn takes f3. Let's be a materialist. I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna be a materialist. We just believe in the trash compactor. I could sack a piece for this trash compactor. I hope it doesn't come to that. I hope it doesn't come to that, guys. We're getting a little. We got $15. Where's the My Little Pony link? Yeah, I don't collect My Little Pony. Only Alf. No bronies here. My name has nothing to do with My Little Pony. It is the band name of Mark Linkous, who committed suicide by. I won't get into that, but anyway, yeah, not really a brony type of thing. Okay, bishop takes b6, and we're sneaking a pawn at the cost of perhaps our entire pawn structure. But the trash compactor is mightier than the doubled pawns. This something about these pawns, it just feels like it has to be good. It's got to be good, right? This f3 pawn is kind of useful. It's taking away his invasive knight moves. And I believe in white. We believe in this position. My king is safe enough. Queenside pawn. Queenside pawn majority. Whoa. Alright, now you're forcing me. Now you're going to force me to do something. B5, I guess. Looks like I can afford... Damn, his queen's on those white squares. I better be fast. Here comes his rook. Here comes his queen. Anatoly Karpov. Where are you? We need to be a little bit careful, but I still don't believe in black's attack. And then those pawns. Nefedov with 2 minutes. Maybe c7 would have been faster. Knight h5. Yo. Knight d5. Attack and defense. Come on, Nefedov. How did you get so much time? E+3. Guys, we're streaming till 6:30. Another hour and a half to go. Black's getting whitewashed. Yeah, but you know, I've got to be careful about my king. I'm a little bit scared. Don't want to be too materialistic. Okay, everything's protected. A2 is protected. F3 is protected. F4 is protected. We have 2 connected pass pawns. But I like it to be like neat and clean, and here my king's a little bit open. 2 or 3 mistakes and I could lose. Little joke there. E6 is not really a good move for him, since his queen needs this line. I'm threatening knight c7. Takes on b5, takes on b5. That doesn't really help him, does it? He's giving me 2 connected pass pawns. I have them anyway. I guess white is winning. But the time situation was a little scary. Guys, we still want suggestions. Not too pony oriented. We want suggestions for names. Unleashing the horde. Successful trash compactor on the queen side. He's got that. Attacking my knight now. None of your knight's business. So, I guess c7. Basically an exchange sacrifice. The beauty of this, though, is that he's going to have his queen, you know, or rather his other queen. His bishop is going to be tied down in a very passive position, which is good. Okay, now we really need to think of a way. Blunder. No threats. The meanest mate of all time. Is that an evil mate or what? His queen was hanging. At least we got the cute mate in though. But it was a blunder. It was like a cheapo. I played f5. It was a horrible move. He should just take with the queen. I think there. f5 was like a cheapo. Alright guys, sorry. Let's go back to subscribers here. Mule Skinner is next. It was a sexy mate. Alright. Mule Skinner. Master of closed positions. Deep breath. What happened the last time I played e5? Please show me because I forgot. Alright. I'm going to play the... I wanted to say Philidor. I don't play the Philidor. I think I experimented with it in a couple of games. Maybe Mule Skinner plays the Cochrane Gambit. Nope. We'll save that for Sarunas Solskis, purveyor of the Cochrane Gambit. Okay, here we go down mainline Petrov Street. The pawns, the knights. Yeah, that's, you know, keeping it basic. Sexy mates. That's so risque. Bishop d3. Yeah, a little, not really family oriented. Knight c6. I mean, we don't have to be like PG, but okay. So bishop e7 is main line. My little pawnies. Yeah. Come on, let's get some serious suggestions. I'm also drooling. I was like drooling, laughing there. Excuse me. Alright, so Mule Skinner getting to the main line of the Petrov. I don't even know what this variation is even called. Very few players will go this far. I mean, typically you get the guys, like, they like to trade queens. You know, this is the most insipid variation. Do not play the Petrov's defense, like for black. If white, if there's a risk white is going to play for a draw. It's probably about the worst defense in the world if you've got an unambitious opponent. Warning. Even with like the Caro-Kann, you can kind of keep it complicated, but there's just too many ways for white to bail out and to draw lines in the Petrov. So you kind of have to, you really have to play it against an aggressive player. It's like a cult now. Look, I'm going to be patient and wait till we find a good name. I'm not going to, you know, rush it. We're looking for a name for the subscribers. A nickname, like you'll be called, you know, so-and-so has become a blah, 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 like when you subscribe. Okay, so C takes D. Once I saw Christian Sabo play this Hungarian Sabo Christian, I think he played this against Zlatko Alincic. It was something weird happened, like knight takes d3, queen takes d6, knight d6, and that doesn't seem right. Like, why would I have to do that? Why wouldn't I just like take? I guess this just isn't a good move. I mean, normally they play, there has to be a reason. Normally they play bishop e2. I should know the theory. I guess there's something wrong with knight takes d3, queen takes d3, queen takes d5. What could it be, though? Knight c3 is no big deal, and rook e1, bishop f5? Doesn't seem right to me. Alright, you're going to have to show me, because I don't recall what the problem is here. What is the deal with this? This shouldn't be any problem for black. I've also played this line with white, but I think I never had to play the white side of the Petrov in a tournament game. We've got structure, 2 bishops, but he's got a dynamic... Actually, this is a good example of the hanging pawns. Not really like purely hanging pawns, because I have a pawn on c7, but you get the idea of hanging pawns here. Trade 2 pieces and... Trade 2 pieces, they don't know how to attack you anymore. That applies to some players. You still like to spark casuals. It seems like we don't try hard. To make it seem like we don't try hard. After mule, are there any subs? Yellow Dragoon. Yeah, we've got Duvyavatra and Okeno. You're gonna make it, Yellow, but you're probably gonna be waiting a little while. So castles, we've got the bishop pair, good structure. I like c5 if possible. I mean, he can play c4 here. There it is. Good call me. How about queen f5, just kind of messing with him, you know? Not giving him any time to settle in. I'm not sure this is the best move, but it kind of disturbs white. Endings, I said that very strange. Endings should be good for black with a better structure and the bishop pair. Bishop. The bishop pair. Queen f5. Blocking my own bishop has its disadvantages, I suppose, but it does gain time by annoying my opponent. The yellow dragon, unless I challenge you to delay you on purpose. Yeah, just that's it, man. There's an easy way for yellow dragon to get to be like a little further ahead in the line. Yellow dragoon. Why dragoon? Because you're a goon? What's the story with the OON? I mean, yellow dragon was already taken. Baby horses are called a foal, no? Yeah. The Foals. It sounds like a band name. Kind of a girly band name. How long will this stream last? It will last exactly 1 hour and 22 minutes longer. Queen b6. So we start taking a look at the d4 pawn and the diagonal. You'll have bishop a3 trading off my bishop pair on some lines. So he's basically like calling my queen move out. You know, saying like, hey, queen move. Are you sure that was a good idea? I decided to commit to a structure. Blocked my own bishop, so we brought a new diagonal to go. I'm playing fast and practically here. In a different mood, I might spend a bit more time. Could you offer a little prize? Like winner's game commented, please? Well, I think that's something we should announce from the beginning, but commented like after the game, or We could add it to... When would we commentate it? You know, that's the question. Do you mean like immediately during the stream? Yeah, that's not a bad idea. If somebody wins, we can take the time out to... But this is going to apply to subscribers. We could also go over it tomorrow in the subscriber stream. If someone wins a game, one of our subscribers wins a game, we could kind of focus on that game, especially tomorrow in the subscriber stream. I mean, I'm not going to create like a video on YouTube for just one game. We could create like a video of a collection of like subscriber victories, like put them in a bunch. That's not a bad idea. We could do a collective analysis of subscriber victories. Subscribers. Combination of sum and subscribers is subscribers. We could analyze maybe for a YouTube video in the near future. Subscribers victories. Okay, D5. Okay, dude, that's the way you want to play. That's the way he wants to play. I'm not liking it too much. You know, C6 was my plan, but there's some problems around here that are starting to kind of bother me. So we got to bear down now. Okay, first of all, there's my A pawn. Okay, he's constantly on my A pawn. We could go just nutty and play B5 here. Then Rook B1's kind of irritating. C6 is interesting, but could be dangerous. There's Queen F6. And it's very, very nasty that he's on my A pawn. I was thinking I was playing Nefedov, but I'm playing Mule Skinner. A5 has a very big slowness to it. I'm not happy. C6. I guess we're gonna have to do it. You know, I just think there's basically, there's like Knight D4 too. Okay, Knight D4, Queen F6 is okay. I'm gonna have to do this. There's just no time for anything else. I was worried about Queen A6, but I think we can just deal with that one way or another. It could get a little sharp, but Queen E7 is what I'm trying to say. I don't know what I said. Queen A6, something bizarre like that. Were you playing as a junior? If so, did you ever play in a big event? Okay, I never ever played scholastic tournaments except for like one time in some high school championship for New Jersey. I was always purely playing in adult events as a player. Bishop A6 is my big idea here. And okay, I've got to keep an eye on this pawn. That is a major priority. Trading queens would be good too. Also, these are separate questions. Did you ever play in a big event? And if so, did you ever play in a big event? But you mean like big event for juniors? I never played in like the World Junior, anything like that. I was too old to qualify for things like that by the time I became a strong player in my early 20s. Yeah, so I wasn't like a junior chess star. I was kind of marginal. Almost good enough to be like a junior chess star, but not quite. Alright, we're snapping this pawn. The bishop is definitely useful. We're hitting his rook, and we have some other ideas as well. If black's active here, he should be okay. Could even win, and actually the bishop could come back to e6. That's another blockader. It's also a guardian of f7. Broken up his pawn structure, we have a strong minor piece, I guess. Could also play b5, just support the bishop on c4. My peak as a chess player really didn't come until I'm a late bloomer. Still to come. Bishop takes c4. When did you first pass 2000? I was probably in like 9th, 10th grade. 10th grade. Alright. This is kind of a weird move. If I play queen c5, I'm double threatening different pieces. But he has a way of, yeah, that's like everything's hanging. His queen is hanging, his rook is hanging, but he has an out. Dropped his queen. He had to play rook e1. No, wait. Rook c1, no. Okay, he had a move. He has queen takes queen and rook c1. It took me forever to see that too, Mule Skinner. You have to play this. This is only move. And you're actually better here. Okay, that's got to be a draw. Really? I can't believe this is seriously a problem. Rook a c8, king f1. I mean, it's actually kind of tricky. Gotta believe this is a draw somehow. Rook d1, rook d. I'm gonna lose the pawn now. Wow. Technical ending. I could be in trouble there. All right. Got lucky there. Divlyavatra. If you enjoy the stream, yes, please subscribe. Most of it prep, though. Caruana, I saw Carlsen take out So. That was a pretty impressive game by Carlsen, I thought. Divlyavatra. What if we play g6? Speaking of blindness. Okay, I was trying to put you in time pressure. My blitz instincts. I mean, I was actually, you know, a blitz player for a long time. I would play blitz for money when I was younger. I was thinking, like, once I pulled this like Dlugi trick on someone in a blitz tournament, which is really dirty, I was like down a lot of material in a rook ending, and I just saw that my opponent was like automatically like a robot, just like making moves, you know, like promoting some pawn or something, you know. So I purposely put my rook like a little off, not like on the square mostly, but a little bit like halfway between the two squares, so that I was attacking his rook. And he just like blindly kept doing what he was doing, and I just took his rook. It's like, it's an old Dlugi trick. I mean, I'm sure it existed before Dlugi, but I remember seeing Max Dlugi do stuff like that in live, like 1 minute. I don't know why I'm talking about this now. But anyway, I'm basically an honest guy. My opponent got really mad too. He was really, really upset. It was like an important, like, last round of a blitz tournament, or near the last round of a blitz tournament. And but you gotta like pay attention to the moves you're making. I mean, if you're just like making moves without even looking at what your opponent's doing, autopilot. 600 seconds. Brundle Philly for 600 seconds. That is too much, man. But it says Plucro timed out Brundle Phil for 600 seconds. What did he do? Mubat timed him out for caps, dude. Brundle Phil is getting into it. Oh, Plucro, what's going on with you and Brundle? I thought you were saying it was cool to type in caps. You untimed him. Oh, I thought you gave him another 600 seconds. I misread it. I thought that he had 600 seconds and you put 600 seconds on top. I was like, whoa, that's cruel. Okay, guys, subscriber stream tomorrow. Alright, Divlyavatra. I don't want to say, it's hard for me to say it. Rook e8. Rook e8, bishop e5 is nothing, right? Why do I fear that move? You know, it's like, it doesn't make sense for white to trade pieces in this type of opening. You have more space, you need to avoid exchanges of pieces. Technically, it's a kind of bad bishop, though. I would think he did it. He did it. I can't believe he did it. Very well, sir. Now it's actually a tough call between bishop d7 and knight d7. I would think knight d7, and I'm playing a6 anyway. And so we're just going to go to our natural square. This will be the deciding move of the game. You know, is that really a good move? Proud of myself for thinking outside the box here. I don't think I've ever used this move order before. I was like always like innately afraid of. Actually, Divlyavatra got in trouble in a similar game in another Benoni type position last week. He got absolutely mauled, where he had his like queen on a3. Now that bishop is a massive question mark. It's never going to be happy. The Benoni. Bishop b3. So what should I do about this bishop on b3? Basically just ignore it. I mean, c4, I've got to be careful that I don't give white a big square at d4. So we're not in a rush to play that necessarily. But we do need a plan. In the event of something like knight. Actually, I have b4 as well. Lots of good stuff, but... Alright, we'll play the natural moves. Always be careful in the Zamish King's Indian. You don't trap your own knight on e5. I mean, I can always go here. But it happens sometimes the knight gets trapped. Bishop d7, f4. Or like white plays h3 and traps the knight on e5. Very fluid position for black. American beach decor. You're talking about my background? The bamboo screen. It's my American beach decor. Yeah, it's definitely like Polynesian in nature. This is a faster game. I better get with the program here. So, it's to give us, yes, the holiday, summer, beach feel. I'm not on the beach, but I'm relatively close to the beach. So, there he goes, trying to trap my knight. But not really. Sort of fantasy trap. We have the Eric Cook maneuver. I once lost to Eric Cook. I don't know if anybody here happens to know the Cookie Monster. Kind of a legendary, well, I wouldn't call him legendary, sort of. He was or is still. He played in the World Open, I think. He's I lost the Samish to Cookie like this with white. Very similar position. Cookie was like a FIDE master from the Manhattan area. He played millions of games. Actually a strong player, but kind of a little bit crazy. And he was emotionally kind of unstable. He would have tantrums when he lost and stuff. I noticed he played in the World Open this year. I hadn't seen his name in a long time. But I had a bad record against Cookie for a while. I had lost to him several times, and then at the end I started to get his number. The last couple of times I played him, I beat him. I think I had lost like the first 2 or 3. This just reminded me of him. KC is the Cookie Monster. Now the real Cookie Monster is much stronger than KC. He's a class FIDE master. not to take away from King Crusher. He's okay. He's a good player in his own right, but White just got his queen nearly trapped here. My god, it's trapped. That's so sick. It has no squares. One way or the other. What is that? Like, what's... They used to play that at hockey games. Total decimation. Dilyavatra needs to work on his Benoni type positions. This is the second one. That went really, really astray. But bishop b5, it's an interesting move. I think I always inherently thought, oh, that's something I shouldn't allow, but actually, I mean, we're in mainline book here, and so you look at the database, and everybody's like a6, a6, a6. Some smart guys play h5, but rook e8 makes more sense to me. The computer actually likes it too. And so we'll look, and look, not a single bishop b5. In a sense, it's like, okay, yes, it's your bad bishop, but you really need all your pieces with that kind of spatial commitment. Okay, we learned something interesting there, guys. Quaz is getting close. We've got another subscriber or two, Okano. Knight on e4, trapping everything. The queen was trapped either way, though. If it went to c2, I had bishop d3 trapping the queen. Easy game. Okay, Okano. Okano is our first resubscriber. I want to thank you, Okano, for being our first resubscriber. He was like the first subscriber and then just got renewed now. Let's play e6. King Crusher lives the dream, living with mommy and daddy and playing chess. Well, let's not diss the guy, man. I mean, I don't like to do that, dude. We all have our faults. Bishop g5. Yes, okay, so Sarawon variation, they call it. I have a system against this. That's a... Does anybody like Pavement, the band Pavement? There's a song called... Now, what is it? Now I forgot the name of the song. Knight f3, okay, now what is that? Okay, so the variation is like d5, and then e takes d, c takes d, queen b6. I think that's the coolest one. I like that. I have no problems with King Crusher. I'm not going to judge people. I have my faults. Knight f3. Knight e4 is not a good idea. Popped into my mind for a second there, which is kind of frightening. Queen a5 check, driving him back, and then playing queen b6. Interesting. The other options, though, what are the other options here? You know, c takes d, knight takes d, and then some kind of trick. C takes d, knight takes d, queen a5 check, or queen b6 or something of that ilk. Could play queen b6 straight away. Looks like a gambit. Knight e4, queen takes b2, knight b5. That could get kind of weird. I'm kind of drifting toward queen a5. Or you could just play some kind of lame move like d5. King Crusher's fans disdain him for some reason. They just watch it to hate him. I don't know, man. I never watch him, but I'm not going to speak badly of other streamers. Unless they did something to me, you know. Believe me, if you get on my bad side, I'm your enemy for a long time, but mostly that doesn't happen, you know. Can't think of too many streamers I don't like. Knight f3. I'm having trouble with this. Queen a5 check. The problem is like queen d2 looks irritating. I mean, just simplifying. Queen b6, knight c3 looks some kind of dangerous pawn grab. And maybe we should take a deeper look at that. Queen b6. There's always bishop takes f6, of course. All right, let's go with this. It's a funky move. It's kind of probably not the best move. I mean, I think that objectively, he played queen b3 here. That's a really mild-mannered move, but okay. Pawn takes pawn, queen takes queen, pawn takes pawn, knight takes. Knight e4 is possible. Probably chasing his knight back to its best square. Knight e4. I had a game with József Pataki, a Hungarian IM. He played the Trompowsky against me, and my knight was on f6 forever. And then he didn't take it, and eventually he realized like he just preferred his bishop so much he put it on f4. I was like, yeah, the Trompowsky. The exchange on f6 is so hollow that you just don't even want to do it. Black is at least equal here, but I don't know that I'm better. Soltigo said what? The position has only been reached 3 times at master level in the Elite Chess database. Only one move has been tried, and it's not queen b3. Yeah, I didn't expect queen b3. I expected knight c3 gambit style. Knight c3, queen takes b2, knight b5 looked complicated and kind of scary. I guess I could play queen, knight a6 there, but my queen is... Yeah, knight c3, queen takes b2, knight b5, knight a6, and now my queen is like almost trapped, actually. I don't like doing that. We've got a sort of happy position now. Our rook is active. His bishop's under attack. I expected him to play bishop f4. But yeah, I also don't like queen b3. But I mean, I don't like knight f3. You know, I mean, I think this position is already like... You might argue that bishop g5 gives away white's opening advantage. Okay, the Saruhan variation may be ineffectual. Secondly, like the move knight f3 might be suspect. That's why everyone, including Saruhan, played d5. Then there's the move queen b3. So like a series of like slightly inaccurate moves. Though probably not enough. He's got knight c3 coming up. Therefore, we have to make a decision here. Taking and playing knight c6. Bringing his knight to a good square. Do I really want to do that? Knight c6, knight c3, knight b4. Knight takes e4, knight c2 check. King somewhere. Knight takes a1. That looks kind of complicated. But I think it's interesting. Looks a little greedy, a little materialistic. Pawn takes pawn, knight takes pawn. Knight c6, knight c3. Maybe we can play knight takes knight, pawn takes knight. We have nothing there. I mean, I'm in danger of having nothing in this position. And I could even be worse if I'm not careful. Takes. Okay, what am I thinking about? Takes, knight takes, bishop e4 check. Doesn't that make more sense? Then knight d2. Then we try to find something. Like, I don't know what. I don't know, man. I'm running out of time. Maybe I have nothing here. Maybe I'm just helping him. We're playing a check. We pin him. We've got g5. Doesn't work. He just goes bishop e3. I think I made a mistake. I'm getting a headache. Maybe I should have pulled the trigger on the materialistic variation there. Knight c6, knight c3, knight b4, knight takes e4, knight c2 check. Actually, why did I reject that line? Knight c6. Bad decision. That was definitely the line. And I helped him bring a piece to the center. E5. Oh my god. Do I have it? Do I have E5? Oh my god, the computer. The computer variation, E5, or bishop B4 check, followed by E5. No way, no spoilers. Does it work? I mean, there's E5, like, there's some kind of complicated lines. That shouldn't be a problem. Alright, we're going to try it. It's fun. E5, bishop takes, bishop check, knight C3, knight takes. And then there's some perverse discoveries. Is that an issue? Should I go bishop E4 check first? Maybe it's more accurate. And then E5? Then he has like F3. Man, this is crazy. Okay. I can't watch because I don't know what's happening here. Now I'll look at the comments. Nobody's even bothering. You're all too lazy. There should be a My Little Pony emote. Little Dragoon. This is not a channel for bronies. Has nothing to do with My Little Pony. The check first. Okay, knight d2 bothered me. Because, I'll show you guys. What bothered me about check first was knight d2, e5, f3. Giving him this counterattack on my knight on e4. And then if I take a piece, he takes a piece. So tell me if I'm right later on. But this was the one line I'm not afraid of, you know. And we go here. And we're going to start collecting back rent. Maybe this doesn't work, actually. Maybe I should have calculated this further. Oh no. I didn't calculate far enough. Please let this work somehow. Knight takes a3. Bishop a5, b4. Knight takes a3, knight c6. Knight takes... Man, are you kidding me? He's getting away. Alright. There's a different plan. Switching to different mode. It's cool. Yeah, alright. We got 29 seconds. It's all good. Switching to 29 seconds to 5 minutes mode. A3. Got to come up with a good idea there. We've got two pieces for rook, ATM. But we can't be affording to give him anything back. Alright. Okay. Alright, we have a plan. The plan is in place. Don't you just win the rook? How do I win the rook? He plays a3 here. Am I missing something? He didn't play a3. Yeah, of course I win the rook. But he wasn't supposed to do that. He missed his best move. We just win a piece now. This is actually my favorite game in a long time, I have to say. I mean, there were like lots of really cool complications here. But unfortunately, game is over materially. Okay, now played a little too fast. Guys, we've got another hour, almost an hour, like 50 minutes left in the stream. I'm going to play with these guys. It looks like Ribka, Crocus, Yellow Dragoon. Anybody else who subscribes? Can you find our games? Do you find our games positional hell? Our games, you're talking like collectively? I mean, a lot of the players here are very different. Some of them are quite strong positionally, some of them are quite strong tactically. I don't think it's like across the board everyone's the same. I'm more balanced. I don't really specialize in one or the other. You talk to somebody who's... I mean, I try to play more positionally here in my stream because... That's almost made, damn. I try to play more positionally because I usually don't have that much time. But my true style is more balanced. And if you talk to a grandmaster who's like really strategic and really positional and ask them about me and they know me, they'll probably tell you that I'm like a cheap tactician. Alexander Wojtkiewicz, who was a friend of mine, you know, he actually called me Tricky Fish. That was his nickname for me. But to get that kind of, you know, compliment from Wojtkiewicz was a big deal. Like he never gave anyone nicknames. Damn, driving me crazy. Anyway, so Wojtkiewicz calls me a tricky fish. But if you talk to someone who's like a tactician, they would say I was like just a boring strategic player. So it's all relative. Okano is all about the time, man. He's got the 3 minutes he's going to take to the bank. No way to protect A2. Everything is guarded. We're in safety mode. Get ready to take a walk, man. Anyway, this probably doesn't make a big difference. He's still gonna take the same walk. I could have taken the pawn. King F3 would have been best there. Letting his king get driven back. Time. So we've got time for at least 3 more games. We shall see. I may make some irrelevant moves to just like gain some time back on the clock while I construct a mate here. I'm gonna have to play something like F5 to get my king in the game, I think. Again, Okano so fast. Here we go. We're making progress now. He's going to go after that pawn. We have a pawn of our own. Yeah, well, if you played H6, I'm playing G4. Now we're in like Flynn. Whoever Flynn is. Not General Flynn. But we've got the extra piece. He gets away now. That's so irritating. Oh, mate in 1. Alright, Okano, thank you for the game. I want to check out that position before we go on out of the opening, guys. I want to see what's the best move here. Everyone played C takes D4. Everyone being like 3 people. Epper Yeshi Doctor in his prime in 76 played C takes D. And then some other random guys. Looks like H6 is interesting. So my move is a novelty. And it looks like Knight C3 is the right idea. Like I said, Gambit variation looks very dangerous to me. I mean, this is the money variation. Bishop d2. Okay, that's Trompowsky style. You could definitely play that. It's complicated. Okay. But anyway, I want to see what happened after queen b3. Yeah, I said knight c6. But first I played knight e4. No, this is correct. The question is after bishop f4. That's not the game, right? He played queen takes b6. Queen takes b6 also, like, little inaccuracy, little inaccuracy. Bishop f4, probably fine under the circumstances. But yeah, here I had to play knight c6. But I thought this was the cool variation, like this and this. I thought here knight b4. I did look at g5 momentarily. I don't know whether it was this position. I was looking at this. But apparently he can just play rook c1, which I missed. This was complicated though. Knight takes e4, knight c2 check, king somewhere, knight takes a1. I was concerned that maybe white takes the initiative here. And, well, like knight d6 check, I didn't think that was a big deal, but in fact maybe it is. So, that was a big question, you know. Instead I played what? CD. And then we had this fantastic variation now. Where I played e5. It's possible this doesn't work. Because of knight c3 in this move. Okay, no play too fast, but there's bishop takes e5, bishop b4 check, knight c3, knight takes c3. He has an intermezzo here because his bishop is controlling c3. And this is the move that would save him. Knight c2. And that would have been cool. White's actually better after knight c2. So I had the fear of that being possible, and that's why I asked during the stream, would it be better to play bishop b4 check? But this also has flaws. It's probably the better move. The problem is if I play e5 here, he has, well, also knight c2. I thought he had f3. Was I wrong in that? Oh, f3 just loses a piece. So you guys, why didn't you say I'm a dumbass? Okay, in a nice way. So knight c2. So that also has a flaw. So the best I can do is something like knight c6 with equality. Okay, guys, let's go on. We got no subscribers left, so we're going to try to play a few of these other games. Alright, if you enjoyed the stream, please subscribe here on Twitch. We'd like to get a subscriber today. Nefedov, did you subscribe today? I didn't notice you subscribing. When did you subscribe? Mr. Rybka, he played a weird variation of the Queen's Gambit against me yesterday. He subbed before. Okay, so no subscribers today. I have to stomp on all my opponents. You're respecting the Spanish. I'm sorry, Rybka. You wanna? I can't do take back because I guess you don't have take backs enabled. I'm sorry. I got so excited. Yeah, I would have played the Spanish. Sorry, dude. We'll do that next time. If you had takebacks enabled, we could do it. Here we are again. I was thinking of playing the Catalan. You got 5 Sparkle Bucks on Rybka. Null Value 8 is the latest subscriber from yesterday. Still a new subscriber. I don't even know who Null Value 8 is. Yesterday. Our one subscriber from yesterday. Come on, guys. If you enjoyed the stream, subscribe. And you get to go to the head of the class every stream and play me first. Plus our weekly subscriber stream. Plus extra bonuses like subscriber-specific videos on YouTube. Just the tip of the iceberg. Rybka 8 transposing to some kind of... He likes to play this move early to an extreme. Some kind of Tarash. To a fault. C5 to a fault. Yesterday I messed up against him in a Queen's Gambit weird line with C5. I traded my bishop on F6. I looked it up. It wasn't right. That was a mistake in the simul. I ended up winning a drawn endgame. Well, an endgame that should have been a draw, probably. It wasn't easy. Exist only in the pony realm. Sparkle Bucks. How do we get betting bot? I think there's a betting bot feature. Into the Tarash. We get so few Tarash this year. I love playing the Tarash. It's so fun playing isolated queen pawn positions. For both sides, man. Move 11 must be busy. Or not challenging today. Okay, now knight c6, we're in main line. A lot of moves here. I had one student who said he likes b3, but I don't think that's very incisive. I would prefer not to play b3. It's actually a kind of weakness. Once I lost Tarash with b3 against Dmitry Schneider in the U.S. Championship. Really painful. It was the 9th round of the U.S. Championship in a tournament where I hadn't lost a single game. And I had draws and wins against like every GM I played, and then like lost to an IM in the last round with white. It was a real letdown. C takes d4 is main line, right? Yeah. So, little pingwing. I'll spam the chat, then we can't read every message. The chat usually goes off subject. No betting bots. How many games do you play more? It looks like 2 more max. Unless someone blunders. Okay, this is a bad move by Rybka. I have seen that on occasion, usually from club players in blitz tournaments. He doesn't really want to trade pieces in this position. I recall the blitz game in the trying to talk here at the Boylston Chess Club in Boston, when it was really in Boston, where somebody did that against me. Which rook would you like on d1, sir? Not that dissimilar from last game with Rybka 6, but a better setup where I have a kingside fianchetto. We had mutually isolated pawns yesterday in the simul game. Saroche, what's up? We need a Sledgy emote. Good call. Saroche, you're right about that. We do need a Sledgy emote. That is probably even more important than a name for the subscribers, I think. What would you make for your first subscriber emote? Man, it's so hard. I have to think about it. I have to be honest with you guys. I've been pretty pressed for time in the last couple weeks. I really don't have my usual time to work and as much freedom when I'm in the US. I don't have my office. I don't have a lot of things. So I think September is going to be a time when I can really improve the stream a bit and work on this stuff. The emotes, although emotes are awesome anyway, we don't know where to go with our bishop. I could tuck it back on c1 actually, but let's put it on f4. I foresee like being able to improve the stream a lot in the first week, starting with the first week of September. I'm a little bit stuck right now, a little bit pressed. I'm doing the best I can, but I want to improve it for the subscribers. But emotes, we can probably do that. But off the top of my head, I don't know what kind of emote we should have. I did think about it though, and I definitely want to do, you know, a specific emote, an original one, something cool. You could have like a sparkly horse. You know what I was noticing though? If you go in the lichess shop, there's actually like a t-shirt with a horse with like this rainbow sparkles on top of it. It's just kind of weird. Like my name is Sparkle Horse. They actually have a t-shirt in the lichess shop that it looks like a Sparkle Horse t-shirt. American pronunciation, what? I and I. Good emotes probably give subscribers more incentive to... Absolutely, Laz Hazior. Good everything gives subscribers more incentive to subscribe. I want to be there for the subscribers. Do we have e4 coming in? You're trying to trap my queen in some dirty way? Looks like he's trying to trap my queen. Not really nice. But I like bishop e3. Is there a problem with me? Do you have a problem with me? I'm just kidding. What am I talking about now? Okay, we have tactics with knight takes d5. But I'm still worried about my darn queen. What if we do bishop e3? We snap the pawn first. Snap the bishops off first. That's my deep idea. Trade pieces. And then like snap on d5 and play e4. Take and pin. Pin it and win it. Style. Sample variation, bishop c5, bishop takes c5, b takes c5, knight takes d5, knight takes d5, e4. And that looks like I'm going to get my piece back while simplifying the game. And just hopefully my queen's not trapped. Yeah, I think it's potentially got a few squares to go to. Subscribers, there are currently 1,954 people following me. Followers, yeah, we've got a lot of followers. 18 people subscribe to the channel. That means we got a new subscriber I didn't know about. Did somebody here subscribe today? Because I don't remember there being 18. That sounds high. It wasn't at 18 the last time I checked. Maybe somebody subscribed off stream during off stream time, which is very rare. Knight takes e4. Then he can attack my queen. Yeah, this is golden. This is fine. Knight takes, bishop takes, e4. It shouldn't matter. All right. We're already up a pawn. And now we're basically trading stuff off. And hopefully reaching an ending with a pawn up. At the very least. That's the idea. Should I do another exchange? Bishop takes, e4. I kind of like that bishop as a defender of my king, to be honest with you. So rook a8, queen takes c5, rook c7, queen a5. That's already been taken care of. We've analyzed that in advance. Another virtue of this move order, rather than bishop takes d5. Oh shit. Ribka killed me. Did anybody? Nobody even sent the spoiler. Oh my god. I just lost a piece. That's not good. Looks like I'm lost completely now. Ribka. I did not see queen b6. So that answers our question for us. We had to do bishop takes, bishop takes, bishop e4 with the big advantage. I did not see queen b6. Oh man. We're basically dead now. I have 2 pawns for a piece. Alright. Probably I shouldn't even trade queens here. 2 pawns for a piece is not going to do it. We'll fight to the bitter end. But we are lost. I mean, there are ways we could draw it. We could trade off all the pawns. He's actually trading off a pawn. That's probably winning a pawn, in a sense. Maybe another mistake by me. Ribka. Never played in a tournament game, he said. We got... Just try to hang on here. He's got no passed pawns. 4 against 3 on the same side of the board. If I can trade off the pawns, it could be a draw. That's our only hope. We don't often get into this kind of situation where we're just clear piece down and playing on. But I guess this is like a somewhat instructive situation where I don't think you should resign because all the pawns are on the same side. It's not that easy for black to win. He doesn't have a passed pawn. There's enough pieces on the board that it remains somewhat complicated, so I kind of identify with playing it out rather than resigning. So obviously, probably with perfect computer-like technique, white will get beaten down pretty fast. Draw is a push. Brundlefil, good call, man, on Rybka winning. Very good call, sir. You had the feeling. We dropped a piece. He is getting a little low on time. Does he play blitz and bullet? No blitz and bullet. But you never know. Some people have specific accounts just for blitz and bullet. Draw unlikely. No, 92 is okay. We'll just go back. Now he's got rook on the 7th. I'm thinking back to this game I drew once against Kovacevic with like 2 pawns for a piece, but it's kind of a tough stretch here. Alexander Kovacevic, I managed to draw 2 pawns down on the same side. But it's not that easy for him to make progress. I think this was probably a blunder. Still very complicated though. If I take back first, does it make any difference? He has bishop g4 there. Take, king over. For king over. Probably doesn't matter that much which way I play this. Black's dangerously close to a draw. It may be a draw now. That's why I'm saying practical chances are pretty good in the 4 against 3 type of ending. He never should have traded rooks. It's a major, major mistake. G4. Speaking of major mistakes, bishop g6 there may have been the best move. Really crazy position. How do you win this position? Wow, it's kind of a disturbing move. We only have time for like 2 more games after this. Ghost door. Alright, the truth is probably a draw at the end, but earlier, if he doesn't trade rooks, he's winning. Fortunate save there. Crocus. We have no more subscribers challenging. Mule Skinner, what? You cheered. We got a cheer from Mule Skinner. Cheer 1. Dude, broke like the game is turning out my reverse psychology. Yes, I admit to purposely inciting him to put his rook on the 7th. Alright. I was caught red-handed, like I was caught red-handed trying to induce him to make a bad move. I admit it. I can't help it. It was just the gamesmanship in me. I just couldn't resist. It was my only hope. Come on. I mean, you got to give me a break. I know it was a dirty trick, but I was actually, we had the hope for it. Crocus played the same way against me in another game. It's a weird setup, like bishop f4, bishop d3. Usually, in this King's Indian type position, he should be playing for bishop on e2. Now, can I play knight h5 here? Bishop g5, h6, g5. Yeah, I guess. One way to play the position, I suppose. It's a little committal. I usually go with some kind of more queenside approach. How to subscribe. Suvik, welcome. You can subscribe, but you have to be logged in on Twitch. I guess you have to have a Twitch account. If you're just watching, you know, through the link on lichess, I guess you can't do it. Guys, I've got to be promptly done, so we have this game and like one more, but I have to finish around 6:30. We're going to play a hippo type of setup with the extended g5. This is why typically, like most London system players, will play h3 very early. I don't have to rush with the knight takes g3 though. Free with Twitch Prime if you have Amazon Prime, or $5. $4.99 to be specific. It is $5 or $4.99. Little Pingwing, so there's actually a hippo set up. That's a real thing, man. I mean, you're not a man, but you're one of the guys. Knight on bd2. Bro. We'll save the bros for another stream. Queen e7. Bro. You're not a bro. Alright. Not quite $5. The hippopotamus is when you fianchetto both bishops, typically with like a6, b6, d6, e6, g6, h6. This is like a half hippopotamus. This hippopotamus is a little bit sick, but it still has some power. Do we have time for b6 here? I'd like to play We'll occasionally see c6 from Yepyshin and Karpov. This is basically looking like the way that Karpov will play e6 against the Trompowsky. I'm dating myself by referencing Karpov, who a lot of you don't know who Anatoly Karpov is. That's alright. He was just like one of the strongest players in history. But he's dated now. A6, b6. Let's go with the a6, b6. It does look a little slow. Maybe the safest would have been to do something like knight c6. I guess that's actually better. The safer than weakening my structure. You got me so excited about the hippo possibility. I played a6. Not a terrible move, I guess. We could still revert to that. b5 looks a little too weakening here. Alright. If you're going to castle queenside, I'm going to castle queenside, most likely. Yes, I weakened myself with a6, though. This was a bad idea. Probably like knight c6 straight away, or... I'm not even sure I like knight c6, honestly. This is just an unnecessary target. He could sack a bishop on a6 later on. I really didn't need to do that. Names of Kasparov and Karpov are so alike to me. Yeah, it was cool when you saw them playing the match, like in Russia or whenever. You would see the actual names in Russian and Cyrillic letters, and they look so similar. Kapnob and Kaparov, or however it looks in Cyrillic. Kapnob. Alright, here we go. Castling opposite sides is always fun. We have this hippo bishop, though. The hippo is alive. The left side of the hippo is functional. The other side of the hippo is kind of dysfunctional. Created this awful weakness for myself. Absolutely mixing plans. So, Crocus isn't really doing anything, but he's doing nothing very professionally here. You see this is the kind of player, he does the same setup religiously. His rating's very low in Bullet, but higher in Classical. Actually beat me. He was the only player who beat me. This is a player I've played 3 times already. Wow. I think they were Blitz games. I won. No, Simul I won. They're all Simul games. Okay, so this is the first time he's played in the Blitz stream. Rarely does I lose, and when I does, commonly it's by a cheater. I lose legitimately, often by blunders. There are some players who, some of the stronger players who beat me very legitimately. Yeah, this is what I didn't really want, you know, these threats of like bishop takes a6. But I think we're alright here. I mean, I've got rook b8 to defend, and Crocus isn't really doing anything. You know, he's got no pawn breaks. If nothing else, I play rook b8 and I'll go. You know, I'm going to go get him if I can. I don't know. I mean, I've got threats of b5, b4. I can turn this into a queenside attack in tandem with the bishop on g7. Our Egypt. Have a message. Just got Amazon Prime. Okay. Alright, I'll check into that Our Egypt. I guess you're trolling me about something. I don't know. I'll occasionally throw out the light ban on Twitch for something like just a little bit minor. Try not to do that, but it has been known to happen. Now he's got these sick threats against my king. I've got to be a little bit careful here, but he's starting to walk into some danger as well. Do we tease him first with like offering a repetition and then go for the win, or Do I have anything direct after queen b4, knight c6, queen b3, queen b4, knight b7 doesn't look right. But I guess that's what I was intending, wasn't it? Queen b4, knight b7 with the idea of c5. So he gives me this now. I've got c5. This is looking pretty good to me. I mean, I know my king looks a little bit crazy there on a7. Maybe I'm being too optimistic. There's a good chance I'm being too optimistic here. But hell, I mean, c5 is protected. He's got e5 now coming to life. Just in time. Just in time. I don't mind like letting people, unbanning people who were like a little bit rude occasionally or something like that. I want to make sure I... Then again, if I ban someone, it's probably not for using a computer, because I wouldn't ban them on Twitch. I would just ban them on lichess. C4, bishop there is good for white. So I need to think about this for a minute here. The d file just became an avenue. Well, this stream is almost over. The d file. Oh man, I don't know. The $40 for lessons is really good money in Hungary. Well, Brenda Philly, if you take lessons regularly, it's just 35. Okay, Crocus just blundered a piece. Really good money in Hungary. I was actually charging that amount for lessons like in the United States 15 years ago. But yeah, in Hungary it goes a little bit further. B4. Alright, Crocus, let's see. We've got time for one more game, at least. Yellow Dragon. 7/7 plus 3. Where's Blue Crow? All right, guys. I doubt it. Yeah, I wish I could do 40 hours a week, man. I'm not a machine. I work pretty many hours as it is. I make videos. I work for a couple companies that make chess videos as well. That's a lot of work, but it's really hard. Like you have to schedule lessons. I mean, you can't do more than a couple a day. All right, Yellow Dragon. What am I going to play here? I lost this line against you last time. We lost this line against Yellow Dragon last time, or was it a different line? Yeah, sorry, Quaz, if you don't make it, but I have to go. I have to go, dude, at 6:30. Yellow Dragon, 2289. Dragoon, but I'm just gonna call you Dragon because it's too hard to say Dragoon. Too unnatural. Quaz was just out. He's on the bubble. The bubble boy for today. Unless Yellow Dragon drops a piece or something, which has been known to happen when people are under pressure. Yellow Dragon just happens to know the main line. I'm not sure if we played this last time. But I had a very similar game I lost a month ago in my last tournament. Yeah, he knows all the theory perfectly. Wow. Not that common to know this line that well. The early f4. Leonid Udasin beat me with white, and I recently lost against an IM in a theoretical position. Yellow Dragoon plays bullet. Seems pretty legitimate. Obviously, must know a lot of theory, though, because this is not that common of a variation. 4-letter accounts are taken quickly on many sites. $5 a month is nothing. Yeah, I agree with that, man. Go to the supermarket in the United States. It isn't what it used to be, even like 5 years ago. It seems like inflation is really kind of out of control everywhere, I think. Other than gasoline prices, it just seems like inflation is just out of hand, both in Europe and in the United States. $5 isn't what it used to be. Does anybody want to learn an opening with me? Monkey pushing wood. Okay, so Yellow Dragoon. It's very strange that a certain player named Daniel Gurevich, I played in the first round of my last round robin. He seemed like completely prepared for this move, which has basically only been played in like 1 game or 2 games between good players. It was very suspicious. It was almost like the guy had seen all of my lichess games that are unsaved and been able to know I actually played this move, because the only examples of me playing this move are in unsaved lichess games against Shah and Shah. It was an account that's now disappeared, one of our regulars from early last year. And the only games I had in this line were with Shah and Shah, and somehow Daniel Gurevich just seemed to know that this was a move, you know. It was very weird, and it was the first round. I couldn't prepare. He wasn't prepared for the game, and he played as if he had seen it before, and I just was like, what is going on? But anyway, I have an improvement in store. Even if you somehow magically know my game with Daniel Gurevich, which is like impossible since the tournament organizer, you know, didn't put it. You'd have to actually look at my study here on lichess. I was complaining about my bad memory. I do have a bad memory, dude, but I only lost 2 games in my last tournament, and this was one of them. So that's kind of hard to forget, you know. One of your last losses is a very painful thing, and it's difficult to forget. So Daniel played knight. He played queen d3, I think, instead of queen d2. He played queen d3 instead of queen d2. That must be it. Just something. What is it about this position? Oh, okay, so there. And then, right, okay. So he played queen d3. Yes, it was a little bit different. The game will not be the same because the queens are going to be traded here. Daniel Gurevich avoided trading queens. Yellow Dragoon. Of course, Yellow Dragoon could secretly be Shah and Shah. His rating actually would be about right to be Shah and Shah. How long has he had an account? Let's take a look. He's 14 years old. He's had an account since May 2016. It's unlikely it's Shah and Shah. Strength would be about the same. Now, trying to remember what the computer said. So I haven't played this position in about a year. A6 is possibly the move. Bishop e6 fails to bishop. It should fail to bishop b5 check, I guess. I mean, I could play king f8. How bad is king f8? Not really the plan. But there are other moves. Alright, whatever. Only a limited amount of time here. The engine basically considers black to have pretty good compensation for the pawn here. Because, you know, his pawn on e5 is just really weak. And I think that Daniel Gurevich had a really good sense when he played queen d3 against me, not to trade queens. My actual downfall in that game was avoiding a trade of queens. I had a couple of possibilities to trade queens against Daniel Gurevich where I probably could have reached like a holdable ending. New subscriber, welcome to the Sparkle Force. We got a new subscriber, Cellar Door. So Cellar Door, thank you. Alright guys, we're playing this. Henry Lee. Is that your name, Yellow Dragoon? I read something in your profile. Spying on you. Look at this guy. He's coming with the bishop f3 idea. I wonder if I should consider playing bishop e7 here. It's a little slow, but trading those pieces might not be bad. Just does feel slow. What am I doing? Bishop f3 looks so scary. Very accurate move. Do I have time to eat his pawn on a2? Yeah, but I mean, clearly his plan is bishop f3, very deep. Bishop b4 now. What does that do? I could just castle. Feels a little safer to castle. We'll just, you know, consider it a long-term investment. Alright, b5. Now, this guy is strong. Really need to get at. Well, first of all, maybe rook e8. Alright, it's going to be unavoidable. I mean, some kind of exchange of pieces at some point. I should probably play h6 before it's too late. He's very systematic. Did I lose? Yeah, I lost the first time against him. That was in the simul, though. But he played like God. It wasn't a perfect game, but I thought he played really well. I don't really want to see my structure messed up. This was my plan. Last game for today, guys. I got to run after this. Rook d5. Interesting. Now what? Subtle moves. Bishop e7 looks like dangerous. Bishop f8, I guess. Makes a lot of subtle moves. Seems very good technically. Rook d5. We're just hanging on, down a pawn. Trying to hold. Should I play g6? Kind of a difficult call. Alright guys, I'm going to end the stream. Caspi's, no, Karpov's favorite move. I missed the g6, g5, bishop e3. I definitely missed something. I could have played f6, just admitting I'm a pawn down and an ending. This is what always seems to happen. I think Yellow Dragoon playing almost as good as International Master, 2460 rated. Daniel Gurevich. I think I have slightly better drawing chances in this version. Now I can play bishop takes e5, or is there some kind of trap? Has the feel of a trap. Looks like we should hang on here. I don't know about the king and pawn ending. I'm not going to risk the king and pawn endgame. I can't even calculate that. Feels like we're out of the woods. Probably a draw. Maybe we have a tiny symbolic advantage here, but it should be a draw. Objectively equal. Minority attack on the queen side, maybe. I guess he's playing for a win. Okay, guys, I really have to go. But I guess he really wants to win. Now he might be worse. G5. I'm not sure how to make progress here. Rook G2, C4. Can play Rook G2. Well, we're gonna go for the win. Check, check. Okay, I mean now we have two not connected, but two passed pawns. Can I get my king back now to stop this one? Whoa. Not sure. We can surround this pawn. This should be a win now. Okay, let's find a safe location for this king. Do we go up? King e7. Alright, technical position here. Let's cut him off. Maybe we can improve our rook. Maybe we can improve our rook here. This game went a little bit longer than I expected. Alright. It should be a win. Bishop and rook pawns is a draw. This is a technical win. We've got h3. If that's a mistake or not. Yeah, maybe we can go here. Takes a while. 67 moves. And now h3. His technique is brutal. Oh, he blundered. Oh, that's a stalemate. Oh man, and he knows about that. That's impressive, dude. I didn't realize that was a stalemate. Wow. Wow. I never actually seen that stalemate trick, and he knew that instantaneously. Damn, dude. He knew that stalemate instantaneously. Incredible. Oh my god. I've never seen that I can recall. Well, now it should be a draw, I guess. He doesn't have the perfect setup. Getting kind of low on time. All right, guys, gotta go. Thank you for the game, everybody. Thank you for subscribing to our new subscribers. I gotta go, guys. Thank you, Blue Crow, for moderating, and we'll be back on tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow is our subscriber stream here on lichess and Twitch. All right, we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.